Good evening, everybody. Kyle Smith alongside Bob Bill Sway. It's time for some high school girls basketball. Wheeling against Elk Grove. And, of course, Elk Grove High School, because, Bob, is a production of Elk Grove Television.
It's an honor to be here. It's fun to watch games like this. Couldn't have more fun doing a high school basketball game. And that was a great rendition of the national anthem, wasn't it?
It sure was. They play that at Oak Park River Forest for their swimming meets, and it's awesome when they have it on the air. And, Bob, this should be a good one. I know that both teams have struggled in terms of the win column. They're winless. 0-2 is Wheeling, 0-3 is Elk Grove, but they're fierce rivals. You can kind of throw out the records. And for both teams, especially that they're winless, you're probably going to see a lot of reckless abandon tonight because, hey, if you come home a loser tonight, you still have a win on the season.
Well, that's the thing. Somebody's going to win a game today, so that's a good side of things. And this is a tough conference.
It is. Usually Barrington's a powerhouse. They've been down in basketball the last couple of years. Elk Grove, actually, surprisingly, the girls' team went to the regional championship, but they had to go up against a very tough Maine South team. Maine South was number 3 in the conference, and Maine South dominated that night for the regional championship. And, of course, it really didn't matter if Elk Grove had won that game because a week later everything got shut down anyways because of COVID.
Isn't that an amazing situation? I wish we could have every year over again. Of course, nobody more than me with my Harper College volleyball season getting delayed for a year.
Yeah, it was certainly a weird time. I'll still remember it, and I don't want to, talk about it too much. We want to talk about the girls playing tonight, but I was driving home from work. It was actually a St. Ignatius College prep basketball game that I was doing public address announcing for. And as I'm driving home, the Jazz Thunder game got canceled, and then the entire season was canceled a minute later. It was the weirdest thing ever.
It was. It happened so quick. Once that first game went, the whole season, like the next day, was gone.
And everything subsequently was gone after that. But basketball is back, and it's glad to see, Bob. There are people still struggling with this pandemic and out of work, but it's great to see that we're back on the court and doing our best to, try to avoid the stressors that have been happening in real life the last year.
Yeah, unless you're in the soccer market, and then everybody's gone up.
Tip-off is won by Wheeling. In their half-court set they go. This is a team with 4 freshmen on the team, but most of them do not play unless there's injury. Basketball in the hands of Niznik. Now back out to the three-point line, driving in. Bakes the mid-range, Jay, and she'll kick it back out to Niznik. Back out to Miluchava.
Just like you said, the defense is in man-to-man here.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot of man-to-man tonight. How about that, a double dribble? You usually just see a travel call, but...
Well, it was a double dribble. It's just at the top of the key, probably early season jitters, and those are the kind of turnovers that cause you not to win.
It's so weird to say early season jitters as we're past Valentine's Day, but remember, the season didn't start until February 5th. Inside the paint, and able to luckily get it back were the Grenadiers. Out to the three-point line. That tray no good off the backboard and rim.
Great offensive rebound.
By Troush. She's a player to watch according to the Daily Herald.
And there's a reach and foul. And then this other team, Wheeling, is playing a 2-3 zone. So we got Elk Grove in a man-to-man defense and a 2-3 zone by Wheeling.
Yeah, I think that it's more of they feel confident in that because they might not have the speed on defense. It's just so hard to think that a lot of teams are going to be using zone defenses because they didn't have a lot of practice time due to this pandemic.
Well, and then they're daring Wheeling to shoot from a distance. That was a great shot on the baseline.
The player to watch in the Daily Herald, Nikki Niznik, the 5'7" guard. She has one more year of eligibility left after this one. Troush with a nifty little left-handed hook shot. Can't get it to fall. And it's going to be last touched by the Grenadiers. I don't think anybody touched it, actually. It was just off the backboard and no good.
That's the hardest thing to get as a referee. I used to ref long time back, and the ball would go out of bounds, and 2 players would be looking at me, and both were taller than me. All right, which way are you going to call this one, ref?
Ashley Yasek, the other player to watch in the Daily Herald Mid-Suburban League preseason ratings, and she's going to be the 6th woman tonight. And basketball has definitely changed, Bob. It used to be, a displeasure to come off the bench. Now 6 men are very important. That steal by the Grenadiers, and it's good. The layup by the junior, Lily Duckman.
And that's what happens when you telegraph the pass. Duckman read the play, intercepted it easily, and a nice left-handed finish at the other end.
Yeah, that's why you don't stop your dribble in the behind the half-court line because it can be very well read by the defense. Fakes the 3, driving in, and it's a reach-in foul against the Grenadiers. That time it's the center, Troush.
You know, on that pass that did get stolen, it's one of those things where you have to look left and pass right, made famous by Magic Johnson. But you know who does it really well on the Bulls is Kobe White.
He does. He's just not a point guard. He's a very nice combo guard. Reminds me a lot of Rodney Stuckey, but just not really that prototypical point guard that the Bulls need right now. All right.
Did she call her bank? There was no spin on the ball.
It doesn't count because you can't deposit at the bank this late.
Uh-oh.
I don't know if she meant to do that, but it went in.
Well, yeah, she did. There's no spin on that one either.
And it's rebounded by the Grenadiers. So weird to see everybody wearing that mask.
Yes, it is.
Hopefully everybody stays safe. It's got to be really sweaty wearing that thing, running up and down the court.
But what I'm also seeing is everybody's actually wearing it, covering the mouth and the nose, unlike the boys the other day.
Three-pointer air ball that's rebounded by the Wildcats, and they're looking to push.
That's why the 2-3 zone is packed in. They're daring wheeling. They're daring wheeling for the long shot.
Well, Wheeling looks good on defense, not so much on offense, as that pass really didn't have a shot from the time it left the fingertips of the player on the right wing side. That was number 22, Sarah Aranda.
All right, we've got a different zone defense here. Now it's more of a 3-2 or a 1-2-2.
Yeah, just trying to mix it up, trying to confuse the Grenadiers. Ball on the floor and a bounce pass. Wisely, I like that. Bob, saving the timeout, decides to pass it off instead of wasting one.
Well, that was absolutely great hustle, getting on the ground and picking up that ball.
5:14 to go, a 3-2 game. Wheeling with it, and driving in is Yasik, and it's stolen away briefly by the Grenadiers, and we'll have a jump ball possession arrow towards Elk Grove.
That was another hustle play by Hernandez. The ball landed on the ground. She landed on the ground with it. Now, they don't have this possession because of the possession arrow, but they'll get the next jump ball as a result of this hustle.
Remember, both teams are winless, so this is huge. There is no state tournament this year due to COVID, only a conference tournament, so every game crucial. Pranjal with it, bounce pass. It was read well by Wheeling, but Elk Grove able to keep it. Goes after the steal. Rotation defense is there, and a foul committed by the Wildcats. Going to be called on Sarah Aranda, the 5'5" junior guard.
Another reach-in foul. They have to play a little bit more lame beer-like on defense, where you stand up straight and keep your arms in the air and don't reach in.
And actually, they're going to call the timeout on Wheeling, and the foul was called by Delaney Hernandez, the 5'4" junior guard. We'll stick with the action.
Now, we were talking about this before the game, where the scores of the Elk Grove games in the first three games were, it seemed like always around the 40 points that they scored and gave up always around 60 points. So this is a very low-scoring first couple of minutes of the first period here.
I think it works well for Wheeling, Bob, because as we saw in Max Preps, Wheeling scored less than 20 points in their first two losses. For a team that's not shooting the ball well to start off the year, this is exactly what Wheeling wants. They're not shooting it well, but they're still leading because Elk Grove is shooting it not as good.
Yeah, you hate to be too funny about it, but, if you're not shooting it well and having turnovers, you're not going to win too many games or score too many points. But you're right. It's benefiting them. It's only a 3-2 game. It's still early.
Keep that confidence level up. They haven't shot the bell well to start off the season, but when you have the lead, you can readjust after this timeout and see if you can finally get things clicking on the offensive end for the Wildcats.
And Wheeling's, the only basket they actually gave up was that steal and the layup at the other end.
Yeah, so really on the defensive end, they haven't given up a single point.
That's right, in their zone, whichever it is, the 1-2-2 or the 2-3.
And they've done a little 3-2 as well.
Yeah, as the season wears on and players hit the mark on the hoop, when you pack the zone in so tightly, these girls can make those three-point shots.
And I'm sure that the new head coach, Beth Cristobal, would never admit it, but she is a math teacher, and how the game has changed with the analytics. I'm wondering if she's bringing a little analytics, player efficiency rating, true shooting percentage into the game as she analyzes her new team.
I can identify with her being a math teacher. I was a math major, and it's definitely a lot of analysis. There's the three we were just talking about.
The triple's good by Hannah Grizik, the junior guard, standing at 5'4". First lead of the day for the Grenadiers. And they're looking to win on their home floor.
Oh, use the backboard.
Ball loose, finds its way to a mid-range shot, no good. That time it was attempted by Marlena Milucheva, and it was last touched by Elk Grove.
The same player that has the no spin on the free throws, and there was no spin on the shot from the mid-range jumper, as they say.
Bounce pass, and it was almost stolen by Elk Grove, kept by
a
Wheeling.
turnover pass.
And a bad pass leads to a steal for the Grenadiers. Long pass to the other wing, now back to the top of the key. And
so that was a good inbounds pass at the other end. They ran a nice inbounds play. They were isolated under the basket, just couldn't finish.
Reach-in foul against Troush. Each team with 5 timeouts left, and that's the second foul committed by the Wildcats.
There have been a number of fouls called in this game, and I have to give credit to the refs. I haven't seen any fouls that shouldn't have been called, and they've called all of them that appear to should have been called. So good job to the refs so far this early.
Julia Cava. And what's interesting about her last name, she spells it with a W, but it's pronounced with a V. Inside pass to Troush. Layup is good, and the foul.
She was pushed as she was in the air, made the shot anyway.
If you're going to foul, Bob, you got to do better than that. That was way too easy for Troush underneath the basket.
That's a one good player, too. What I liked about that also, she used the backboard.
An all-conference mention coming into the 2020-21 season.
She's got her college picked out. We were here earlier for the senior night. I forgot now what it was, but she's already committed to play basketball in college next year.
Good for her. She's a good young center. Pretty good height at 5'10". No 6-footers tonight for either team.
Yeah, depending on the college, that might be good enough to still be a center, or maybe she'll move to guard. Oh, there's an errant pass again.
Frangel with a very good pass, and look at a finish
Oh,
where the Grenadiers that time just really rushed it, and no good by Maznika.
probably a right-handed player trying to make a left-handed layup.
I know, Bob, but at this level, I mean, it's varsity. You got to make that layup. That was a beautiful pass by Frangel.
That was one of the scariest things as a player. You're a right-handed player, you go in for a left-handed layup in front of all these fans, in front of your high school friends, and you're not as coordinated with that other hand.
All about mechanics, though.
In practice. Here's a three.
It's no good, and good box out by the Grenadiers.
See, now I'm not a fan of that foul. She was good. It was good hustle rebound. She landed on the other player who was just standing there, and they called a foul on the rebounder.
Yeah, the game has changed. Back then, they'd let them play on. In today's game, they're trying to avoid those unnecessary collisions. So at the NBA, you'll see that a lot, too, those kind of ticky-tack fouls. It's still a foul. You have to give the player enough time to come down with the leg. And if you don't, they're going to call a reach-in.
And I love announcing these games because right behind us, in our very same vantage, is the camera, so we get to replay it later.
Frangel with an open three. Air ball, but a beautiful rebound by Grisnick.
Knocked out of bounds, same way.
Troush with 3, everybody else with 2. And for the Wildcats, just 2 for Nisnik.
Another 3.
Well, Elk Grove, we talked about, they just didn't get enough offense. Tonight, it's looking like they finally found the opponent they can beat, but it's still very early. Right now, though, not enough offense by Wheeling, and
ticky-tack drag the flat back foot call. So I was screened on it. I didn't actually see her drag it, but that's what it had to have been on that travel call.
That play was destined to fail from the start. She didn't know where she was going, put the ball up in the air, and picked up that pivot foot.
Nice drive and a reach-in.
Not a bad foul, though. She clearly got beat on the play. You don't want to give up easy layups, especially down by 7 with 2 minutes to go in the first.
Yeah, don't you feel like every foul that's been called has been of the reach-in variety? Keep your arms up or out, but don't reach at that basketball.
Yeah, you got to move those legs when you do it from the side. It's almost like hockey. Anytime you come in from the side, they're going to call a trip. And with basketball, obviously, anytime you come in from the side, they're going to call a reach-in foul.
So what kind of foul do they call every time in a rugby match?
No fouls, just no high hits. Can't hit above the chest in rugby. Reach-in foul. No, sorry, blocking. And
Same thing. If her arms are extended over her head, that wouldn't get called.
Looked like it was in the act of shooting, though, so really a blocking foul. Either way, Troush is to the line for 2.
She's a tough one to defend down there. She's got some good post moves.
The only one on the floor repping the socks. Well, not really socks. They're more like knee braces. Kind of looks like a volleyball player with what she's wearing.
I'll take her on my volleyball team.
She's got great size.
Basketball and volleyball are such similar skills. The only difference really is that their basketball has so much more running.
Dr. James Naismith actually started off in volleyball.
Smart guy.
Beautiful free throw by Troush, nothing but net, 11-3 game.
Now we see a press for the first time from Elk Grove.
A 9-0 run right now for Elk Grove. It was once a 3-2 lead from Wheeling, but they've really struggled on the offensive end.
That was a nice job breaking the press. Showed a lot of patience. Didn't try to dribble through it. A couple passes later, have the ball in the offensive zone. Well done by Wheeling.
Driving in, good dribble. Throws up the floater off the backboard and good.
Milichiva.
So I have the wrong pronunciation. They gave me Milochiva. Or Miluchi, I don't know. 3-point shot, air ball.
Yeah, we've seen a few air balls, but on the other hand, though, Elk Grove has made a couple of those, so they'll probably continue to shoot them. Back to man-to-man defense again, of course, Elk Grove.
1:02 remaining, no shot clock, but Wheeling is definitely in aggression mode right now. Fakes the shot from 5 feet out, back out to the right corner, and an ill-advised steal attempt. Shot no good.
Yeah, Duckman almost had it. It was close.
I know, Bob, but at the same time, gave her the open shot for the floater, and she just didn't make it.
Oh, they called a foul on that, too.
Yeah, they called it in the act of shooting, so this is key for Wheeling. 2 shots, they're only down by 4. Remember, this is a Elk Grove team trying to defend their appearance in the regional championship game last year.
You were talking about the shot clock a minute ago also. With the scores 60-40, that's 100 points. They're not using up a whole lot of shot clock before the next shot gets launched in those games.
What was really interesting about that regional championship game, by the way, is the father and son of last year's senior Caitlin Ingebrigtsen, Kyle and Michelle, were both basketball players at Elk Grove 32 years ago.
Isn't that something? A high school sweetheart story.
And now their daughter was playing last year for the regional title.
She's only about 6'3".
Only 6'3"?
Right.
It's like 7 foot for a guy.
Exactly.
25 seconds to Pranjal for the mid-range J, no good. And Wheeling has plenty of time, no need to rush, but they'll definitely hold for the last shot. This is a Wheeling team. Their best quarter is usually the third quarter. They average about 10 points in the third quarter. 6 seconds left, now 5.
Oh, they're going to call a foul here. I'm not a fan of the bench calling the clock out and not calling it accurately. They did that in the JV game earlier. So there was like 7 seconds to go in the game, and the bench is calling out 4, 3, 2, 1, and it actually got the early shot. I just think that would be in the unsportsmanlike category.
Yeah, it's a little bush league for my liking, that's for sure. And the other problem with that, too, is let's say Wheeling is down 20 points in the fourth quarter. Because of that, they're probably going to get a little rougher on the foul. So if you want to do that, that's fine, but don't be surprised if it gets a little chippy, especially if the game gets out of hand.
I don't know. Do these teams do that?
They do. Trust me. When you hear that and then you get to be down by 20 points and a travel against Pranjal, remember.
They're not going to have much time, though, to put this back in the hoop. Remember, sorry?
Like I said, she did that in her own end, so it's underneath the basket.
Yeah.
Now there should be at least 0.7, if not more. And Wheeling can argue for that.
Then we can go up to our instant replay back here and see how much time is actually left.
And I'm surprised Wheeling didn't fight that. But then again, it's COVID, and you're just happy to be here. But that was huge, Bob. I'm sure there was at least 1.1 when she committed that travel, if not 0.9.
I know if I were the clock operator, I wouldn't have been ready to hit the stop button on that. Who calls a travel on a bomb from the one end?
Oh, no, it's not the score operator's fault. You'll see it at the NBA, but you call a timeout or you talk to the official, change the time, and see if you can set up a play with 1.1 or even 1.5 remaining.
They did have a pretty good play set up, even though they didn't have enough time to run it. The bounce pass into the player who was posted up, all she had to do was turn and shoot. But obviously with 0.2 seconds, that's not enough time to get that up.
Yeah, you got to do a tip. You can't get it off. It's got to be at least 0.6 for a catch and shoot.
Yeah, the NBA has a rule like that. Was it 0.3 or less? You can't do anything but a tip.
I believe, yeah. I thought it was actually 0.5 or less. You can't do a catch and shoot. It's got to be a tip. And
anyway, so what I like to do at the end of the first period, the score is what, 11-5. So you take all the scores and multiply them by 4, right? So the final score should be, what, 44 and to 20 at this rate?
So that would definitely kind of fit into each team's
Right.
consistency this year. Elk Grove scores about 40, and unfortunately for Wheeling, they usually score about 20 or less. So
Right. It's odd, though, that Wheeling, Elk Grove would score about the same against Wheeling, so Wheeling's defense is as strong as the other teams?
Well, like I said, Max Preps had a really interesting stat for their loss against Prospect. That was 61-43. And this isn't official by any means, but according to Max Preps, Elk Grove held Prospect to 31% from the field and 28% from 3, but they still lost by 18 points. So the logic says they probably shot under 25% that night. Meanwhile, a steal by Elk Grove in transition, no good. Rough foul, and she'll go to the line for 2.
Either that or it was one of the LeBron James type fouls where they blow at him and he falls over.
You just do not like LeBron James, do you, Bob?
No, she was clearly fouled on the play, and that's why she missed the hoop.
And that's why when you do that like 4-3 too early, it's those little things from behind. I'm not saying it was on purpose, but you know that what goes around comes around. I'm definitely an advocate for that. So I didn't really like how Elk Grove did that 4-5-3-2-1 too early, and keep that in mind if this game gets out of hand.
So at the line for 2.
First shot, off the back iron, no good.
That's usually where my free throw attempts went. That little net's little up there.
Yeah, front court don't need to make free throws.
Nice.
Except for Jokic. Jokic is just good at everything.
Yeah, but there's a good player.
Could have been a bowl. Could have been a bowl. Inbounds pass out to Wheeling, and the full court press still in effect for the Grenadiers.
I like this full court press. It's a little bit passive, but it slows the offense up, bringing the ball up, and then you might get a travel, a steal, somebody dribble it off their leg. Long shot.
That's what makes this mask thing so interesting is, do you want to go all out with the aggression because are you going to get too tired if you're always running up and down the floor wearing that mask? Obviously, they have cardio drills and ways to combat that, but that's going to be a factor. Some teams that like to play with a full court press or like to do run and gun on offense, it might not be as prevalent because of the mask.
Yeah, I've been around athletes wearing masks now for months, and it doesn't seem to slow them down in any way or lose the cardio. I'm a little surprised. I thought it would, but it doesn't seem to. And surprisingly enough, I can wear the mask all day, and it's not as bad as I thought it would be. Another reach-in foul.
Yeah, but you haven't tried to run up and down the floor playing basketball in it.
I have to say, I don't think I could run up and down the floor playing basketball with or without a mask anymore. In my playing days, I'd be the first one down court for the layup, just like here. But then in my older days playing basketball, I feel like Shaquille O'Neal walking up last.
Did you see that interview the other day when he interviewed Donovan Mitchell?
I missed it.
You got to watch it on YouTube. It's something else. Free throw's no good, and it looks like a lane violation against the Wildcats. Every time I hear the name Wildcats, it just reminds me of that great movie with Goldie Hawn.
I didn't see that, but I think of Northwestern.
Yeah, Northwestern's good.
Yeah, another good free throw. So Wheeling's getting beat at the free throw line here now.
Well, they keep sending people to the free throw line. Another lane violation.
No,
she had two shots. My bad.
Yeah, the first one was a 1-on-1, but the first was a lane violation. She made her first shot. Now here's her second. And the passive press. I like this though, especially in a shot clock situation. There's the steal. Duckman
good
underneath.
Pass to Duckman. Shot no good. Over the back attempt, and it's rebounded by Wheeling. It was clearly not an over the back foul, but trying to get it were the Grenadiers.
But the press did its job. It got the turnover.
Good chest pass.
Duckman is a good defender. She likes to shoot the gaps on the passes and got a steal out of it that time.
Back out to the top to Hulsman. It was almost stolen by Pranjal, and she got a piece of it. Now looking to attack of the Grenadiers. Good little Euro step. And finishing 22, Alexa Joshi.
What a great, as you called it, Euro step to get between the two players. Make a great layup, use the backboard.
James Harden may not be the greatest of all time, but he's definitely the greatest ever at the Euro step. He's also the greatest at not getting 50 million, but that's a story for another day. Shot from 13 feet out, no good. Ball still live, and it was last touched by the Grenadiers.
Yeah, that was a clean shot block, but it was going out of bounds. Tried to save it from going all the way out of bounds, but stepped out of bounds before she touched the ball, so therefore it's out. In basketball, your feet are where they last were, so to speak. So if you jump up but you were last out of bounds, that means you're still out of bounds until you land inbounds.
With a team that's struggling offensively, I want to shoot it a little bit quicker. I think they're overthinking it with their passing.
Well, she shot that.
Yeah, see, even though they missed it, it just seemed like they were more in rhythm and more confident on that possession.
It was an open shot. Duckman hacked as she drove by.
We talked about earlier in the game it was a good foul. Well, now you're in the bonus. That's a bad foul. That time you just got to let her go past you if you get beat. 9 fouls, 1 more, and Wheeling is in the double bonus against.
Sometimes that can work against you, though, if the free throw shooters aren't good. But Duckman is good, so I don't think I'd be fouling her if you could.
If you're going to foul anybody, Bob, usually somebody who's 5'8" or taller, the front court players. Usually your backcourt is your best free throw shooter.
Don't you love that name they came up with, Hack-a-Shack?
Yeah, Shaq wasn't too good at free throws. That's
Another
for sure.
steal.
Look at the speed by Maznica. And one.
Well, this is fast now becoming a blowout here in the second quarter. This is going to be real tough for Wheeling to think they're going to get back in this game.
Still got time, but now that Troush is back on the floor, that hurts for Wheeling. Down by possibly 14 if Maznica finishes the N1, and the best player for the Grenadiers is back on the floor.
Yeah, I'm looking at it from the perspective of they got only 5 points. So what are they going to change on offense to get more points?
I think if it's open, you just got to shoot. Even if it's, well, there's no shot clock, but if it's early on in the possession, just shoot.
The press did its job again. It's a passive press. Imagine if it were more aggressive.
I think they want it to be a little passive to make sure there's no cherry pickers from Wheeling getting behind.
Well, it also causes the Wheeling team to have to make a lot more passes or dribbles to get the ball into the shooting area.
Gets it into the middle. Duckman turnaround J, no good, and it's rebounded well by Wheeling. And they're looking a little speeded up a little bit.
Elk Grove staying in their man-to-man defense.
Hernandez with it, bounce pass, and going to be last
turnover.
touched by Wheeling. Nikki Niznik, player to watch in the conference. Timeout called by the Wildcats with 4:34 to go. Beth Crystal in her first year as Wheeling head coach.
Yeah, at this point, she's got her work cut out for her. So down by 14 points, having only scored 5, the question is, what do you change on offense? Do you try to give it to a specific person? Do you not take anything but a layup? First off, you got to get past this passive press. There's a lot going on here for this first-year coach in her, 4th game of the year?
Well, you got to give it to your playmakers. So Niznik and Yasik, ball screen, shoot. So one screen and a shot. I know that's like not the ideal way of basketball. That's kind of like the Russell Westbrook style of basketball. But if you're not shooting it, sometimes you'll see the Wizards do that. When nobody's shooting it well, including Beal, one screen and then Westbrook shoots it. Same thing with Wheeling. Nobody else is shooting it well. Get it to Niznik, get it to Yasik, and sees what happens.
And Russell Westbrook would look great in a Wheeling jersey, wouldn't he?
He would.
That would change the outcome of the game.
Yeah, but he would also have to change his chromosome to play for the girls' Wheeling team.
Oh, man, that's a whole good topic to talk about, right?
19-5 the score, but yeah, I think that's what Wheeling's going to do. One screen and a shot. Tried that a couple of possessions, sees what happens. And as for Elk Grove, I think you're finally seeing it all come to fruition. We talked about holding Prospect at 31%, holding Prospect at 28% shooting from 3. In fact, Prospect only shot 64% from the free throw line in that game, and Elk Grove still lost by 18 points. So everything is there on the defensive end for the Grenadiers. They just got to shoot the ball better, and they're doing that today.
They're going to feel pretty good about themselves for another reason, too. Say what you want about Wheeling, but they're holding Wheeling, any team, down to 5 points here is just a fabulous job on defense.
Absolutely, and with that press, it's creating problems for Wheeling to break it.
Wheeling staying in the 2-on-2 defense here.
Yeah, they're making sure Troush doesn't beat them. And
Troush is trying to beat them.
That shot by Troush, that could be on Shackton a fool. That wasn't too good by Troush.
Well,
but,
do you think she might have been fouled on that maybe? That was a pretty wild shot.
I don't think she was. I think that was just a wild shot. There's the screen they wanted. They just couldn't pull it off. And
they're switching on the screen too. Oh, and they're going to call her for palming the ball going around this other screen.
Yeah, that was pretty ticky-tack. I know it's a call, but here's the problem with that. If you call it in this quarter, you better darn call it in the fourth quarter if you see it.
Yeah, I like it more when they don't call those. It probably was the right call. Just don't like to see that called.
Yeah, that's the problem with officiating. When you call it once, you got to keep calling it every time you see it.
Yeah, and a lot of people palm the ball.
Allen Iverson was definitely well known for that during his playing career.
Yeah, Kirk Heinrich used to bring that up a few times.
Out to Troush, no double team, kicks it back out to the perimeter. 3-point shot, air ball, almost lost it, sticks with it, and bounce pass to one of their players off the bench, number 25, Julia Cava. Cava, she's looking for Aranda, and she gets it to her. Aranda back out to Luucheva, and that shot no good. Troush.
Another air ball.
Said that a lot today. How about that pass? In transition, no good.
Third air ball in a row.
Yeah, that's one that Hannah Grisnick would love to have back. Open J, just couldn't get the mid-range to go.
This man-to-man defense has been so effective. It's pushing Wheeling further and further from the hoop.
And I just don't see a certain sense of urgency from the Wildcats. I think it's just those past defeats getting blown out, starting to get into their heads a little bit, starting to think, okay, here we go again. And you can't think like that. You just got to keep playing it one possession at a time, one defensive stop at a time, and another timeout by the Wildcats.
I have to say that's exactly what I was thinking. You can't think in terms of, are you going to win this game now? You have to think in terms of a quality possession every time down and a quality defensive stop every time at the other end, and eventually things will work itself out. But they need a player that can penetrate on the one-on-one dribbles against this man-to-man defense, and they just don't seem to have that. The players get the ball and their back is to the hoop, and then they pass it out further.
Something you got to think about. Obviously, you want to win, right? Vince Lombardi said it great. Winning isn't everything, it's the only thing.
It's the only thing.
But how do you win? Well, you have to do everything great throughout the entirety of the game. So take it one stop at a time, see how that works, and then get back into what made you get this far on offense. And I think that's what Wheeling's mindset has to be out of the timeout.
Milacheva.
Needed that one.
No spin on those shots.
All that matters is if it goes in. But it hasn't been for Wheeling, so that's the problem.
There we go. Yay.
That's what's great about basketball. If it's a swish or barely goes in, it still counts as one. 19-6, 2:46 to go. Elk Grove in full control right now. Double comes on Troush. Back out to the corner. Little floater shot, no good, but there she is. Number 3, Olivia Maznica. Rebound and one with the layup.
In the right spot on the air ball grab. So this another air ball that she was in place to get the rebound, shot it up right away, then got fouled after she released the ball, and it still counts as a foul in the hoop.
You know, Troush is their best player on paper, but the best player on the floor today, you could make an argument for Pranjal Patel. A couple of active hands on defense, beautiful pass in transition. She has created a lot of problems for Wheeling on both sides of the floor.
That's the thing. It's a team game. Oh, Duckman almost with a steal.
Meanwhile, Wheeling just got to find a way to get some points.
Another turnover against this press.
And, Bob, if I'm Elk Grove here, I'm just getting it to Troush. If the double comes, so be it. I just want Troush to get a basket and just kind of put this one to rest going into halftime.
Well, we'll see what they do. Troush is set up down low.
They're trying to get it to the low block. Maznica sneaks out and almost wide open underneath the basket. And a late second deflection by the Wildcats.
All right, we've got the line pattern on an inbounds pass, easily inbounded.
Bounce pass out to the top of the key. Another bounce pass to Duckman, and she was reached in from behind. That time it's Hernandez. Sorry, Aranda.
Yeah, she kind of pushed her when she went through that space there. Another very good player on this team.
Yeah, we saw her last year. She was creating a lot of problems on the offensive side of the court.
That's a swish on the shot. 23-6. The score is definitely getting away from Wheeling.
The Grenadiers trying to improve to 1-3. Wheeling trying to improve to 1-2. Air ball, and
those air balls will at least hit the rim as the season wears on, and a little bit more practice.
that
Yikes.
shot no good. Off the backboard, good rebound. Gets her own board. Third attempt, no good. Finally rebounded by the Grenadiers, and they're looking to push in transition. Out to the right wing side to Maznica. Maznica lost her dribble, and she'll kick it back out to the perimeter to Duckman. Duckman drives in, fouled again, and
Another
back to
reach-in.
the free throw line. I know you don't want to give up free shots, but here's the other problem when you foul is you basically give up 2 free shots. Well, sometimes they don't fall. But you basically give up 2 shots at the charity stripe, and you allow Elk Grove to get into their press.
Well, and also Niznik, assuming she's one of Wheeling's better players, now has 4 fouls against her. So that's why she's coming out of the game now. So I'm sure that she won't go in before the half. And then in the second half, when it starts, she may end up first on the bench or at least second with instructions from the coach to stop reaching in.
Shot no good, and was almost rebounded by the Grenadiers. Ball still loose. Jump ball coming up. And possession arrow towards the Grenadiers.
You know, Duckman ended up with the jump ball, but Troush sure did a great job causing grief on the offensive boards.
That's what makes superstar players. Doesn't always have to be with the points. You just got to impact the game in a lot of different ways.
She sure did on the rebound on that one. Oh, I thought Duckman was going to put that up.
There's Pranjal, and she'll kick it out to Maznica. Three-pointer for Duckman. Nothing but the bottom of the net.
27-6. What a superb shot from the corner.
Not looking good for Wheeling. They still have time to at least make it a 19-point or less deficit.
Another drag of the back foot, so they call that a travel.
Elk Grove really playing with house money right now. You can hold for the last shot, or you could just force one up, force the press, and maybe get a 2-for-1 off the steal. Pranjal, low block shot,
Nice.
It's good.
Quick spin. She knew what she wanted to do right when she got the ball.
Logic would say Wheeling's going to hold for the last shot, but you just got to get something good, even if it's early on in the possession.
I think when you're down by 23, you're not playing for last shots, right? Here's another steal.
She's got a woman in transition. Good pass. Grisnick with the open layup. 31-6, and I'm not going to say it's over, but I just don't see enough from Wheeling on the offensive end consistently right now. Reaching in from Grisnick, 12 seconds.
Another steal from Patel.
Good pass from Grisnick. Troush gets it. Troush in transition. Layup is good, and that will do it.
So she got a layup at the buzzer. She was fouled on the way in. I don't know why it wasn't called, but it should have been a 3-point play. 33-6 as we go into the halftime.
So we're going to take a break. Coming up next, the second half of action. You're watching Elk Grove Television Basketball here on EGTV. Welcome back. Kyle Smith alongside Bob Bilsaway, 33-6. And finally, we saw the Wheeling team show up, and we were actually having scoreboard issues. It said 7 minutes for the longest time. Finally, they got it to 8 minutes. So not only is Wheeling trailing, but they were also trailing on the scoreboard.
I think they spent a long time in the locker room thinking there was more minutes than 10 for the halftime break. Anyway, they got out here, and we're now starting.
That or the pizza they delivered wasn't on time. Either way, half court go the Wheeling Wildcats, and they got to score quickly and get some stops. Driving in, double team is there on the rotation. Troush gets out of the lane to make sure there's no defensive 3 seconds. Pranjal on the defense on the perimeter, and looking to push is Wheeling. They just can't get past this ferocious defense of the Grenadier.
Now, did you see how Troush had her arms up in the air? The ball hit her. The arms might have even collided, but there was no foul called because her arms were straight up in the air. Good defense.
Yeah, she's just a very fundamentally sound, got her knees protected with those braces / tape. She just looks like an athlete.
Yeah, I think it's just knee pads. I think you said earlier she looked like she'd be a good volleyball player.
Troush going after it. Possession arrow towards Elk Grove. And
Troush trapped her up.
And like we said, Bob, remember the first 2 quarters, Elk Grove doing that 7-6, 5-4 too early thing? Don't be surprised if it gets chippy later on in the game.
And a 1-2-2 zone. And a steal. Oh, let's see who they give it to. Still Elk Grove's ball.
Yeah, it was kind of a bailout call, but maybe Pranjal got the last of it.
Well, that's the tough thing. It goes out of bounds. So now you're a referee. Even though you're one of 3 of them, you have to guess who gets the ball.
Never easy being a basketball ref, that's for sure.
It is a hard job. Nice play, Patel, huh?
She's definitely my pick for player of the game. She's just doing everything well, making it easier for Troush. She's just been excellent on both sides of the court.
That's the thing. It is a team game, and I'd probably still pick Troush, and of course Duckman's having a fabulous day.
Ill-advised pass, and Duckman steals. Duckman looking to push with her speed, and then it's restolen by Wheeling.
Troush with the ball. Maznika. Oops.
That one was just kind of overthought. A style points layup. No, just get that up and get the points.
Yeah, she went off the wrong foot. Just a little fundamental gaffe there.
Yeah, on the right side, you go in with your left and you finish with the right hand. That time she was going in on the right on the rocking horse and didn't exactly fall the way she wanted it to. Meanwhile, still a 35-6 game. Back out to the top of the key. Wheeling still is not in double digits. Wow, what a rebound by Troush. Over 2 players, over the top. Beautiful board. Back out to the top of the key. 3-point shot, Duckman.
From here, it looked like it was going to go right in.
Good pass off the backboard and in. That time, it's Alexa Joshi.
I like how she used the backboard to make that basket.
The senior guard at 5'5", Joshi, on senior night, along with her 2 teammates having a heck of a game. This is a very young Elk Grove team, only 3 seniors and a lot of sophomores, although most of the sophomores are on the JV team. Driving in, rotation was there, forces up a tough shot. Help defense from Troush.
Tied up again and another jump ball.
And we might start seeing the freshmen as I lost my roster.
That went flying.
How about that 5-second violation?
You don't see that very often.
The wheels have fallen off for Wheeling. And that,
uh-oh, that's pretty profound.
That was a pretty awful dad joke, if I might say so myself.
I think so, but what a great pass inside to Troush, who scored the easy layup.
Yeah, you're seeing the frustration now with Wheeling as that ball was sent straight up on the inbounds play. And
now, see, here's the thing where you were talking about maybe it's time to put in the freshmen to see what they can do. Only the coach really knows how those freshmen play. She sees them in practice. I mean, are they any better? Are they any different? Will this experience help them if they do go in?
Yeah, what do the freshmen do well? What do they not do so well? Why aren't they on the floor? And there's usually a reason, right? Remember when the Bulls fans were so mad they weren't playing Mirotic, and then they put in Mirotic, and he wasn't exactly very good at basketball? There's usually a reason why the coach isn't playing a certain player.
Oh, a travel on the pass, on the inbound pass. Patel took an extra step to get it around the defender.
Timeout called by the Grenadiers. We'll stick with the action. We appreciate you watching this broadcast of Elk Grove Television, Public Access Channel 6. We do a lot of cool stuff at Elk Grove, not just sports, but everything related to news and everything happening in the village of Elk Grove. Check it out for all of your local happenings in the village. 4:46 to go, and I think it's safe to say, Bob, it's going to be the Grenadiers' first victory of the season. But for Wheeling, you just got to play within yourself and don't lose yourself on the court. If you're going to lose this game, so be it. But you don't want to see the frustration. I'm sure that's what the first-year head coach for Wheeling Beth is telling her players, look, we can't be throwing the basketball, having temper tantrums on the floor. We got to play as a team, and we got to find a way to get some consistency on the floor, even if we lose this game.
Yeah, you wonder what she's telling her team, right? Is it, put more energy into it, more effort, or is it, let's go run this play or try to run that play? It's hard to say. Of course, we can see her, but you can't even read lips. Got a nice little black mask over her face. Scoring is very even on the Elk Grove side. Nobody with double-digit scoring yet, and nobody with no points.
Yeah.
Nobody with less than 2 baskets.
And obviously, if they were playing an opponent a little bit more talented, you'd probably see Troush try to take over on the low block, but they don't have to do that because everybody else is getting it done with their mid-range shots and driving into the lane on those backdoor cuts. So you don't need to use Troush as much as you would like to, and if this game continues to get out of hand, Troush might not play the entire fourth quarter.
I was actually looking for her to make sure she was actually still on the court.
Yeah, remember, she's still got to play, too, to impress those colleges for next season. She is already going to college, but always good to show off the end of the season to get some more playing time as a true freshman.
Well, and it's just flat out fun to play.
For most people, yes. Some people play basketball for the wrong reasons, but yes, playing basketball generally is very fun.
So Wheeling holding on to the ball here, trying to figure out how they can work it in against this tough man-to-man defense.
They just don't have that go-to scorer this season, so it's just hard when you're in these spots when you desperately need a basket. Who do you go to? And Niznik is their best player, but she hasn't played that way tonight, and she's in foul trouble. As the bench is starting to open up for the Grenadiers. First time we've said the name of Julia Maznika tonight, and Maznika with a 3.
Yep, that was a nice in, then out pass. In, they had to collapse and double team the person in the post, and then threw it out for the 3-point basket.
Now a new rule by the IHSA, I believe in the fourth quarter, if you're up by more than 20, it's a running clock.
Oh, no.
That makes sense. You don't want teams to get extremely blown out.
I like that shot by Milicheva. She's the only player from Wheeling that's penetrating.
Grizik coming back into the game. They still haven't taken out Troush, but I think going into the fourth quarter, we will not see a lot of Troush.
Well, I would hope that maybe they take a couple starters out, not just Troush. No spin, rebounded by Troush.
She's just a woman among girls, isn't she, rebounding the basketball? Everybody get out of the way because Troush is just too menacing on the glass.
I like her, too. She stays within the framework of the offense. She doesn't try to do too much. There was a great rebound from her. Reached over and got it.
Open 3 for the Grenadiers.
Yep,
and
there
it falls.
Goes again.
Coming into this game, I was going to say Olivia Maznika was clearly the better of the two sisters, but Julia's making a case with those 3 threes that she's made.
Well, she's the leading scorer on the team right now with 10 points, with 6 of them coming in the last, minute.
As for Wheeling, just trying to get some consistency on the offensive end. Off the back iron, no good. And Troush is just dominating the glass once again.
Oh, no, another travel call. Replay that one back.
Good decision, though. Sometimes you'll see a player panic and they don't want to commit the travel, so they'll try to heave up a half-court shot, which is legal, but you don't want to just give up a possession. You're better off just seeing if the official wasn't watching and you don't get called for the travel. Open
Another nice
pass.
steal.
Pranjal thought about the shot, but she mishandled the pass, and that time it's stolen by Wheeling.
I'm not counting, but is Zach Duckman's first turnover?
Could very well be. Meanwhile, it's a 45-10 score. Starting to look like the Bears against the Packers. And if you're wondering, usually when the Bears are playing the Packers usually have the 45 points.
I wonder what the score was of the Super Bowl that the Bears did win against the Patriots.
It was pretty close to that. I think it was 46-10. That shot is good. Layup, 47-10.
Now it's 47-10, so they made another extra point.
I'm still mad that Ditka didn't give the ball to Walter Payton for that 1-yard touchdown.
Oh, me too. That was a mistake. I think even Ditka said he regretted that years later. But he was trying to stick it to the Packers, and he felt that Fridge would stick it to the Packers better than just another.
I'm talking about the Super Bowl when he gave it to the Fridge instead.
I know.
Well, you said the Packers, not the Patriots.
Oh, that's true. He did this against the Packers, too.
Yep. That I don't care about, but yeah, the Patriots
Yeah,
thing.
the Patriots thing, he should have given it to Peyton. But like I said, he apologized later and said he probably did the wrong thing.
You need to read the book, The Sweetness, if you've never seen it. It's about how Walter was just inconsolable after the Super Bowl. And you can almost understand it. He gave so much to the Bears franchise. And
Yeah, and you're at the 1 yard line, they don't give it to him.
47-10, meanwhile, the score. Wildcats just not their night and really hasn't been their season, but still a long way to go before it's all said and done in 2021. That pass out to the top, out on the left-hand dribble.
Maybe this will be a turning point for Elk Grove. They lost their first 3, and this is a big win. Doesn't matter that they beat Wheeling. Things are going better than they were before the season.
Well, I think 9 times out of 10, you hold a team to under 32% shooting from the field, you're going to win. That time they lost by 18. So
Well, maybe they can repeat what they're doing here against somebody else. Now they're going to call travel on this shot. They didn't call travel on her other 2 3-point shots when she did the same little hop. That hop is either legal or it's not legal. I feel like it's no different than taking a jump shot or a layup.
Man, this song is old. This is like from 2010 right now. Are you an Eminem fan?
I do like Eminem. Of course, 8 Mile is, one of our theme songs at Harper when we went to the national championships. And it's your last opportunity to win.
Well, the good news for Wheeling, if they can get to 20, it would be their season high. So that's something to look forward to. But just, when your best player in Nisnik is committing fouls and you're not hitting shots and you're not able to beat the press, just not going to win basketball games. And that was the story today of the Wildcats. And this crowd is just so quiet.
Yeah, you can hear a pin drop. Well, there's only, 50 people in the crowd?
For obvious reasons, we're in the middle of a pandemic, but still weird.
I like the way Elk Grove is still shooting the gap on these passes, trying to make every opportunity to get a turnover and run up the score if they can.
No, I wouldn't say they're running up the score. They just want to continue to play with that intensity so it transitions into their next game.
Yeah, that's actually better put. I didn't mean run up the score in like a negative way. They just want to continue to play excellent basketball.
Like Bill Belichick said it best. I think he beat the Titans 59-0, and the Titans weren't too happy with him that day. And Bill Belichick was like, "What do you want me to do? I'm playing football and I have Tom Brady. If you don't like it, then stop it. I'm not just going to take a knee every play." And he's kind of right in that.
Well, and Elk Grove has to feel good about this too. Now they've been beat 3 times. Now here's their chance to win, so they want to continue to execute at the highest level that they can.
Got to work on their free throw shooting, too. Not very mechanically sound at the charity stripe this season.
Well, that's another thing, too. In high school, you're encumbered by who is on your team. Oh, she got knocked over. Good rebound. You're encumbered by who is on your team. If you have good players, you look like a good coach. If you have a lot of good AAU and club players on your team, you're going to have a good record. But if you don't have a good base of players who are playing club basketball, you're not going to look so good.
Or you could just get LeBron James' cousin, and then you'll always win, no matter who's on your team. I just think it's the coolest thing ever. That shot's good by the Wildcats, making it 47.
That was a nice penetrating drive.
I just think it's so interesting that Mo Williams went to 2 All-Star games, and LeBron James was his teammate on both of those teams. That shot's good, but the buzzer clearly sounded. The coaching staff for Elk Grove not too happy about it either.
Yeah, Musnika showing off.
47-14, we'll stick with the action. Well,
what, just 13 more points to get to 60, which is what the other teams have been scoring against Elk Grove.
Yeah, sometimes sports can be a weird thing. They haven't been able to score over 45 all season, and they've only given up 60, and then tonight they play Wheeling, and they possibly get to 60. And it's really just a team effort. You see 3 players with 7, 2 players with 6.
Well, the 5 players who are on the court, exactly. I guess they're taking Musnika out of the game, so she can't travel on any more of those 3-point shots.
Just taking a page out of the Greg Popovich form of coaching. It's good to have Tim Duncan, but if you also have Manu Ginobili, Tony Parker, even Bruce Bowen knocking down shots, you're going to win a lot of games. And that's kind of the style tonight for the Elk Grove Grenadiers. Everybody contributing. It's not just Troush.
Yeah, what a great job he's done in San Antonio over the years.
They almost had that other title, but Ray Allen bailed out the Heat. But it's just really interesting, the kind of career that Greg Popovich has had down in San Antonio.
Yeah, when you brought up that Ray Allen three, it reminds me of the three that Kyrie Irving made that kept the Warriors from winning 3 in a row. The middle of the three of them, of course.
That was probably the greatest basketball game I've ever seen.
It was fun to watch.
That was, of course, Game 7 with LeBron on the Cavaliers. Troush from
there we go.
3.
Troush again. She's on fire.
Wow. That just screams out Division III, Division II player, doesn't it?
Well, she's going to play it. They said it earlier before the game, but I just don't remember where she was going. I should have written it down when I heard it. They had senior night tonight. So a half hour before the game, they honored the 4 seniors on this team. She was one of them, and it told what colleges they were going to, and I was chatting instead of listening.
You blew it, Bob.
I did. I should have written it down. But she is committed to play. That's awesome.
Yeah, she definitely looks the part of a college player, that's for sure. Good inside pass, and just can't get it to fall. Good offensive
good
rebound.
job.
There, finally, the Wildcats get another basket.
Delaney Hernandez got that rebound and put it in off the backboard.
5'4" junior. 50-16. One more basket to get their highest basket total of the season, as it's stolen by the Wildcats. That time it's Niznik.
See, there again, you got to compliment Troush. She's good, right? She has the ball underneath the hoop. She can turn and spin, make the shot, but she's still within the offense and goes to pass it to a teammate.
The other problem with being down by so many points this late is the defense can just always go after these steals because they don't care if you score. They're up by so much. They're just going to go after the steal and get more points if they can get it. So that just makes coming back from this big of a deficit so tough because the defense can be more aggressive.
Yeah, I'm not sure that Wheeling's thinking in terms of what they have to do to come back in this game at this point.
Well, I know that, but you want to at least make a game out of it, and it just makes it even tougher because Elk Grove doesn't really have to care as much about the rotations.
But I love the way Elk Grove is still putting as much effort as they can into it. That was a foul. Yikes. Not much more she could do on that. It was just a spinny move and a shot, and the referee called a foul.
Well, you can't hit the neck, Bob.
Got to replay that one, right? Is that what she did?
Yeah, it sure looked like she got the neck. Maybe,
well, we have a great view here.
Maybe if you're playing the Mortal Kombat version of basketball, you can do that, but not in real basketball.
A lot of spin on that shot as Hernandez missed it.
Yeah, the arc isn't there, and this is a young team, like I said, 5 freshmen. They got nowhere to go but up. But, yeah, not the start that Wheeling wanted to have. That time, a much better attempt on the free throw.
Yeah, I got to believe in the town of Wheeling there is a lot of good basketball players. And maybe with this new coach, she'll bring them out and inspire them and maybe run some clinics for the 7th and 8th graders. I wouldn't be surprised to see Wheeling do real well next, after a couple of years here.
She clearly knows her basketball, the new head coach, Beth. A math teacher, played 4 years at Hersey. She was actually the manager on the Illinois State women's team, and then she decided to transfer to Lake Forest College.
Isn't that funny? So it sounds like she was at the Illinois State games as the team manager and got, I'll say the word, homesick for basketball and wanted to go play. So she went back to Lake Forest to play.
Possession arrow going towards the Wildcats as they try to get into the 20s. Timeout called by Wheeling. And even with the running clock, they will stop the clock during the timeout.
Yeah, she has my proverbial heart. I was a math major in college, and I had the choice between engineering or teaching also, and I decided to go the engineering route, not the teaching route. So by also coaching, it kind of gets my teaching fix.
Any other majors you'd considered in college?
Well, the other one was computer science. So it's computer science and math major, and they won't give me credit for the English minor. You can only have, 2 declarations, I guess.
what do we got to do to get this crowd into it? We were trying to get the music jumping, some catchy lyrics, and they're not feeling it tonight.
Well, to giving the DJ credit, he's playing great music, I think. And if there were 300 people or 500 people here like you might normally see on high school game day, I think you'd have a pretty rocking group. So you can't blame the DJ.
Beth Crystal was named the head coach in mid-May. And it's like you said, Bob, she just wanted to play basketball. Her quote was to the Daily Herald, "I figured you're only young so long, so I might as well use the time I had."
Boy, I wish more people would listen to that advice, right?
Then again, it is cool to play basketball, but I'm sorry. Going to Marquette University versus Wisconsin Lutheran on a Friday night, it's a little bit different. Let's just keep it at that. So I can I can understand wanting to play Division III basketball, and I can also understand just wanting to be a student and going to a Division I institution.
Yeah, that's the good thing about colleges, right? There's a college for everyone. I was actually a graduate of Illinois State.
Go Redbirds.
Yep. Yeah, I had season tickets to football and basketball. A 3 from Hernandez.
There's that lady again. She's got to at least have 10 rebounds.
I was thinking the same thing. She's all over the boards.
There's that lady Patel again, just creating a lot of stuff on offense. Good passing, always in the right spot, moving around well. Masnika to Troush, back out to Patel. Long 2-point shot, no good. And it's rebounded by the Wildcats. Kind of surprised they didn't take Troush out. I know it's senior night, but this game was clearly out of hand early on in the third quarter.
Yeah, I think they're reveling somewhat in the win.
Well, when you're 0-3, a win's a win.
Yeah. They're going to call that a push and one, huh?
And don't be shocked to see Elk Grove win 3 or 4 in a row. Like I said, this team went to the regional championship last year, and it's just such a weird season. Everybody wasn't allowed to practice, so the talent level is still the same from last year. But it's weird because everybody wasn't able to practice at the same time.
Yeah, and I think that affects basketball more than most sports. It's such a skill sport at getting that little tiny, or great big ball into that little tiny hoop. It takes a lot of practice, and you have to be, taking a lot of shots in practice. Like that shot, I would expect that to go in next week or 2 weeks from now. It's just out of practice, a little bit rusty.
It's going to be so weird not having that state tournament this year.
Yeah, of all years, right? It's a shame because the girls work so hard to get to that, and then unfortunately they can't get in it, especially for the seniors. Patel again.
Shot no good. Good offensive board. Shot no good, but Alexa Joshi going to the free throw line with the running clock.
You got to give her a lot of credit. Didn't she have the other offensive rebound as well, and now this one? There's no lack of hustle still from Elk Grove. And frankly, a lot of hustle from Wheeling, too. I mean, nobody's giving up.
Yeah, they clearly want to make this at least somewhat of a game. And, this is a conference game. Now, every game's conference, obviously, because of the pandemic. But, a lot of these players, they played with each other when they were younger in AAU and travel. So they know each other very well. And nobody wants to get blown out of the floor. Especially against somebody you know very well throughout the years.
Well, plus you're playing for your job. There's still a bunch more games to go this year.
Playing for your job.
Yeah, you are. You're playing for your job, so you want to keep playing. Oh, what a great save. See, that's the kind of hustle we're talking about.
Don't want to get hurt, though, in a 52-19 game.
What do you mean? It's safe to run into all those pads on that scorer's table, isn't it?
Yeah.
Another reach-in foul.
I'm not a physical therapist, but I'm going to tell you right now that's not always a good decision.
Nonetheless, now Masnika's taking inventory on her elbows and her arms and seeing what's going to be black and blue tomorrow.
Well, she's moving it, so nothing's broken, thank goodness. And she's just the perfect woman. She's saying sorry to the the people at the scores table. Sorry, I tried my hardest to go after the basketball.
It's nice to look down, though, and see all the pads on the table. So if that does happen, nobody's going to get hurt at least easily.
And Courtney Lindfors, she definitely gave a look at Masnika. And I'm not going to be able to exactly think what she said, but
Well-
something along the lines of, "What are you doing? We're up 52-19."
And I'm going to do one of those shameless shout-outs here. You know, Courtney Lindfors is the older sister of a volleyball player I had on my team, Amber Lindfors, who then went down to St. Louis University to play basketball. Of course, I wanted her to play volleyball with me instead of basketball with them, but she played at St. Louis, as far as I can tell, for 1 year. Maybe she's taking a year off and she'll play again. I don't know. But she's, you know, Courtney's about 6'3" or 6'4". Amber was 6'3". Good volleyball player, too.
And Patel on senior night going to the bench with a huge round of applause from her teammates.
And the JV team is right behind the bench. You know, funny, they've got the chairs here in this COVID pandemic, right, 6 feet apart on the court, but the whole entire JV team fits in about a 6x6 box of seats behind the bench.
Well, they got to the 20 mark, did the Wildcats, so it's getting better step by step, right? But they just got to find a way to avoid reaching in, and they got to find a way to get the ball to their playmakers better. They just didn't do a good job of that on the offensive end.
Yeah, Milicheva was the one girl who was willing to go to the basket, penetrate to get the hoops.
Yeah.
Everybody else, it was back to the basket basketball.
Yeah, they were trying to get it on the low block, and that's fine and everything, but if the defense is there, you know, pushing you away from the low block more and more, you got to find a way to push it out to the perimeter and force them to contest. And that just wasn't happening a lot from Willing's offense tonight.
Yeah, they have a lot to work on, but I think this coach will get them going. You know, it might take a couple years before you get the influx of good club and AAU players, or maybe those freshmen to get more experience.
And like I said, she's a math teacher, so all those analytics, looking at the game film, evaluating those next level stats, player efficiency rating, true shooting percentage. And I expect Elk Grove to just hold the ball here.
Good call, right?
And I didn't like that. I would have just held the ball.
I don't know. I get both ways. You know, if you hold the ball and for the last 25 seconds, it kind of ends the game. On the other hand, this gives Wheeling another chance to shoot it.
Yeah, but it's kind of like taking a knee in football. You just want the game to end the gentleman's way, or the womanly way, so to speak, to end the game.
Well, she got to launch a half-court shot.
And another person injured. Bodies flying. So Elk Grove got their first win of the season, Bob, but might have come at a price. Couple of players slightly injured tonight.
They were working hard. They deserve everything they got tonight. They played well. They played excellent defense.
Well, it's quiet on the floor, just like it was the entire day. Just not a lot of inspired fans tonight. But even if they were inspired, it wouldn't have gotten very loud because we are at capacity with the pandemic.
Well, this was fun, and they erased the final score, so I forgot what it was already.
52-20. So for Debbie Demison, Ross Rowe, Scott Mayernick, I'm Kyle Smith alongside Bob Vilsaway. That does it for tonight's broadcast, and we'll see you next time on another production of Elk Grove Television.